Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. So I just recovered from COVID-76, 4 times 19, and really goes to show that a good immune system is our best medicine, right? None of these 4 times did I take any modern medicine, and also when I thought back at it, all 4 of these COVID-19 infections were a lot of my own doing. I got myself in too much stress all 4 times that led me to catching COVID, led me to compromising my immune system and catching COVID-19. Now, I don't know exactly when I caught the first COVID-19. What had happened was that in May of 2020, there was a program to test people for antibodies for COVID-19, because if you tested positive for antibodies, they wanted your blood to give to people who were recovering from COVID-19. So I went in to get tested because I wanted to. We thought at the time, you got to remember this was before any idea of a vaccine. We thought that you could only catch COVID-19 one time, right? That would, if you look up any news story from April, May of 2020, there was this idea that everybody would catch COVID-19. We would spread out the curve, right, so that we wouldn't overwhelm our hospitals, and that would be that. So I was very relieved to have tested positive for the antibodies. The other nice thing was that then they wanted my blood. You see, I'm an autistic. I don't clear mercury out of my system very well. So one of my favorite things to do is to take chelating agents to get it out of my body. Now this is alpha lipoic acid. Another way to really kick the chelating into a high gear is to take chelating agents, and while you're in the middle of a chelating cycle, give blood, because that pulls the mercury out of your system. Otherwise, you reabsorb a bunch of it. Now, a person receiving your blood isn't going to get a high level of mercury, because chelating is a very long-term process, but it really jumpstarts your own chelating. And after I tested positive for the antibodies, you're normally only allowed to give blood once every 8 weeks, but they shortened it to 4 because they really needed it, right? They made you sign a waiver, obviously, but they shortened it to 4, and so I really got to take my chelating to a high gear during that time, which was really nice. Unfortunately, it's back to 8 now because they don't really need the well, now they have everybody's antibodies, I guess. But my best guess is that I caught COVID-19 when I was at the conference in Taiwan the year before, because I got home and I got very sick. And I felt as if my head was out of place, if I remember correctly, for 2 days. Now, a lot of people, you go to any grocery store, any pharmacy, they're going to say, get the flu vaccine because it costs how much in productivity. See, I missed 2 days of work that first time that I had COVID-19, that I didn't even know was COVID-19. I just thought I had a really bad flu. Did I lose productivity? I seem to remember that it helped clear my head, helped me come up with a few new concepts. I work as a professor, and sometimes you need some new ideas on how to teach the same thing, and I didn't think I lost anything. Yes, I was out of the office for 2 days. Whether or not I lost anything is another story, right? Alright, so in 2021, I was getting ready to go to a backgammon tournament, and obviously I have some questions about the vaccines. I didn't want to take it, so instead I had to go take a test. You know, what was really interesting was that it was September of 2021, and I wanted to go on a 48-hour fast in memorial of all the victims of 9/11. And that fast was one of the easiest fasts I ever did, and I didn't know why until I went to get the COVID-19 test to see if I could go to that backgammon tournament. I was like, oh, that's why that fast was so easy. And so I had COVID-19 the whole time, and I didn't have an appetite, and they made it so easy to fast. I ended up doing 61 hours, if I remember correctly. I was really stressed out at the time. There was a girl that I was interested in. I was living in Phoenix at the time. I didn't know what to say to her, and that weighed very heavily on me. The idea that I might lose my job from not taking the vaccine also weighed heavily on me around the same time. And so both of those, I really shouldn't have gotten either one of those COVIDs. I let myself get too overwhelmed with conferences, with the how people look at me at my job. The third type, also stress related. I was working at a very toxic job. This was May of 2022, and my boss was unhappy about me taking time off for various things, and I was just about to ask for a day off for a lunar eclipse. It was overnight, which I don't work overnight, but I wanted the next day off so that I wouldn't be coming in really exhausted. And then God said, you know what, just take that time off. You have COVID-19 now. So you see, all three of those were stress related, and this last time was also stress related. I just started a new job. I was upset about something in my life. A couple friends and I were discussing what we were doing to prepare for the stagflation economic situation. And when I was talking with them, I realized how much of a disadvantage I was in for being solosexual. One of my friends had recently bought an electric car, and when I asked him how he budgeted for it, he started going on about how he and his girlfriend had, so they had two incomes to save for it. I really felt at a disadvantage. And then at the game meetup, there's a girl that's interested in me, and oh, should I take her, should I not? And so I was also worried about my new job, whether or not that would stick, so I was moonlighting a lot. And then I got COVID-19. So all four of them were stress related. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in. I hope to take it easier going forward.